Okay, we've all seen those days when the stock market starts to plummet. It feels like a total free fall, right? No bottom in sight. Well, it turns out there's actually a hidden set of safety measures, rules that are designed to slam on the brakes during those moments of pure panic. They're called circuit breakers, and believe me, they are one of the most powerful and most debated tools in all of finance. So, to really get why we even have these things, we have to rewind the clock. Picture this. It's October 19th, 1987, a day that would go down in history as Black Monday. The Dow just cratered, plunging over 20% in a single day. I mean, it was pure chaos, a total breakdown of the market. And that chaotic spiral basically forced regulators to say, okay, we need to find a solution, and we need to find it now. And that whole mess raised this huge question, one that's still relevant today. In this age of super fast, high-speed trading, what can actually stop a market panic from just feeding on itself and spiraling into a complete and total collapse? Well, the answer they came up with was a brand new set of rules. And the inspiration, well, it came from a little device you probably have in your own house. All right, so let's dig into the mechanics. What exactly is this emergency system, and how in the world does it work? So, a market circuit breaker is, well, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's this automatic, preset rule that just stops all trading for a little while when prices start falling way too far, way too fast. You can think of it as a mandatory timeout for the entire market. And that device from your home? This is it. The best analogy really is the electrical breaker in your house. You know, when you plug in too many things and suddenly click, the power goes out. That breaker just tripped to stop a power overload and prevent a fire. A market circuit breaker does the exact same thing, but for trading. It stops a selling overload to prevent a massive financial panic. But it's not quite a one-size-fits-all solution. There are actually two main types of these safety switches. So let's start with the big one, the one that can literally shut down the entire US stock market. These are called market-wide circuit breakers, or MWCBs for short. And when one of these gets triggered, everything stops. Every single stock on every single exchange. The whole point is to give the entire system, and let's be real, all the stressed out humans running it, a chance to just pause, take a breath, and hopefully calm down. And these rules haven't just been sitting there unchanged. Nope, they've evolved, usually right after a major market crisis. So they were first created back in '88, and they were based on how many points the Dow dropped. But then came the 2010 flash crash, and regulators were like, whoa, this system needs a serious update for modern, super-fast markets. So in 2012, they made a big switch. They tied the triggers to the much broader S&P 500 index, and, this is key, based them on percentages, not points. Much smarter. Okay, so here's how the modern system works. It's broken down into 3 levels. Level 1 kicks in if the S&P 500 drops 7% from the day before. Bam, trading pauses for 15 minutes. If things reopen and the selling continues, and we hit a 13% drop, that's level 2, and we get another 15-minute pause. And then there's the big one, level 3. If the market ever hits a 20% decline, that's it. Trading is shut down for the rest of the day. Game over. And listen, this isn't just some dusty rulebook theory. This stuff actually happens. During that incredibly chaotic month of March 2020, right at the start of the pandemic, these market-wide breakers were triggered 4 separate times. It was basically the first real-world stress test for the modern system. Okay, so that's the big system-wide approach. But what about when it's not the entire market melting down, but just one single stock going completely haywire? Well, for that, there's a much more targeted kind of circuit breaker. This system is called limit up, limit down, or LULD for short. Now, instead of halting the whole market, this one is all about preventing trades in a single stock from going way outside a specific price range. Think of it as a much more surgical tool. The guardrails idea is perfect here. LULD basically creates this moving price band, a ceiling and a floor, that follows a stock's recent average price. The whole system is designed to keep that one stock from veering too far off course, too fast. And this could be because of anything, a tech glitch, a fat finger trading error, or some sudden crazy news. So here's how it works in practice. The system is constantly calculating these price bands based on the stock's average price over the last 5 minutes. Now, if the trading price stays outside of that band for just 15 seconds, the stock enters what's called a limit state, and that triggers a 5-minute trading pause, but just for that one stock. The goal is super simple. Just force a quick timeout to let everyone figure out what a more rational price should be.
Okay, so now we have these two pretty powerful systems, right? One for the whole market and one for individual stocks. But this all leads to the biggest, most important question of all. Do they actually work the way they're supposed to?
And this is where the debate gets really, really interesting. On the pro side, a big study of those March 2020 halts found that, yeah, they did seem to calm things down. The market was able to reopen in a much more orderly way. But then there's the con side. Some research points to this really dangerous side effect called the magnet effect. The idea is that as a stock's price gets closer and closer to that circuit breaker level, traders might actually panic and rush to sell before the halt kicks in, which could actually make the crash happen even faster. Not good? You know, the original idea behind all of this was pretty simple and well-intentioned. Regulators just thought it would be a good idea to, as the saying goes, let everybody take a deep breath. The goal was to give people a moment to think and make informed decisions, instead of just mashing the sell button in a blind panic. It was all about replacing irrational fear with some rational thought. Which, of course, brings us right back to the central dilemma. When you think about that scary magnet effect, you have to wonder, are these things the lifesavers they were designed to be? Or is there a fundamental flaw baked right into the system? And that leaves us with the big question to chew on. Are circuit breakers a truly crucial safety net, something that protects the market from its own worst impulses? Or are they a flawed design that, while well-intentioned, just makes the panic worse right before a halt and, in the end, only delays the inevitable? Honestly, that's the question that regulators and investors are still trying to answer every single time the market goes wild.